Asshai. Asshai is a city located in the far southeast of the continent of Essos, on the eastern shore of the Jade Sea. This places Asshai far beyond the Free Cities, the Dothraki Sea, and the Bay of Dragons. Qarth is located closer to it, given that the Straits of Qarth form the western entrance to the Jade Sea, but it still takes many months for a ship to travel from Qarth to Asshai. Due to the great distances separating them, the Westerosi know very little about Asshai, save that it is a great seaport and that its people are exotic. Beyond Asshai lies an area known as the Shadowlands, which are said to lie under the shadow. What exactly is casting the shadow is not known, nor is the exact nature of the shadow. People and things from Asshai are known as Asshai. The Asshai language is unique, rarely heard in Westeros or even Western Essos, and rumored to be used in powerful magic spells. Notable people from Asshai: Melisandre, a Red Priestess of R'hllor, the Lord of Light and a Shadowbinder, once serving advisor to Stannis Baratheon and Jon Snow. Kaith, a mysterious woman encountered by Ser Jorah Mormont in Qarth. Like Melisandre, she is also a Shadowbinder. History: Illyrio Mopatis gives Daenerys a wedding gift of 3 dragon eggs, said to be from the Shadowlands beyond Asshai. Jorah Mormont tells Daenerys that in the Shadowlands beyond Asshai there grows a plant called ghost grass, which the Dothraki believe will one day swallow all the world. Jorah suggests to Daenerys that they flee Khal Drogo's Khalasar by night so as not to be caught up in the chaos unleashed when he dies. He says there is a port in Asshai they can head to. Daenerys refuses. Melisandre, a Red Priestess of the Lord of Light from Asshai, has converted Stannis and most of his household to her religion and become one of his closest advisors. At Qarth, Jorah encounters the mysterious woman Kaith, a Shadowbinder from Asshai. Tyene Sand reveals that she coats her daggers with a poison called the Long Farewell, which she claims is from Asshai. When Melisandre arrives at Dragonstone to meet Daenerys, Grey Worm announces her as a Red Priestess from Asshai. Asshai is a mysterious port city in the far southeast of the known part of Essos, where the Ash River meets the Jade Sea at its eastern exit, the Saffron Straits. Asshai is on the southernmost edge of a mountainous peninsula known as the Shadowlands, thus the city is often called Asshai by the Shadow or Asshai by the Shadow. To go to Asshai can be described as to pass beneath the shadow, and the area of the Shadowlands and Asshai are sometimes referred to simply as the Shadow. The origins of Asshai are lost in history. Even the Asshai do not claim to know who built it, stating only a city stood there since the world began and will stand there until it ends. Maesters find it difficult to discern the truth about legendary Asshai. Texts from Asshai speak of the Dawn Age. Annals from the city tell of Azor Ahai during the Long Night, and ancient books claim he will come again. Texts also claim that dragons first appeared in the shadow. Asshai has been a thriving port for centuries. Before the Century of Blood, merchants from the Kingdom of Sarner traded at Asshai. Jarhan, one of the sea-green god emperors of Et, extracted tribute from Asshai during his reign. King Aegon V Targaryen commissioned journeys in search of dragon lore from distant places, including Asshai. Miri Maz-Dur studied in Asshai, learning from a moonsinger of the Jogos Nai, a Dothraki woman, Maester Marwyn, and a bloodmage from the Shadowlands. When a wrecked trading cog washed up on the frozen shore, a woman of the free folk found scarlet silk from Asshai in the wreckage. Her granddaughter later used the silk to mend the cloak of Mance Rayder. In the books. In the A Song of Ice and Fire novels, Asshai is said to lie on the far southeastern shores of the Jade Sea, a body of water far to the east of the Free Cities and Slaver's Bay. It is located close to an enigmatic area called the Shadow, or Shadowlands, and the city is sometimes known as Asshai by the Shadow. The city is usually traveled to by ship, but it can also be reached overland by a circuitous route. The Dothraki consider the city and surrounding area to be ill-omened, while people from Asshai are distrusted as spawn of shadows. However, the people of the Free Cities, Slaver's Bay, and Qarth don't display many qualms about pursuing trade with the city. Asshai is reputed to hold large amounts of arcane lore, including knowledge of dragons, and dragonbone can sometimes be found in the Shadowlands beyond the city walls. Stories told among the Asshai claim that dragons first emerged from the Shadowlands and were later brought to Valyria before the rise of the Freehold, but this cannot be confirmed or denied. Gems, gold, and other valuable substances can also found in the Shadowlands, and are commonly used as trade items. When Daenerys Targaryen arrives in Qarth, among the many gifts she receives are chests of amber and dragonglass imported from Asshai. It is not unusual for a voyage from the free city of Volantis to Asshai and back to take 2 years. According to the TV series official pronunciation guide developed for the cast and crew, Asshai is pronounced Asshai, as opposed to Asshai, Asshai, etc. It might also be pronounced Asshai or Asshai, but its language and pronunciation are strange to outsiders. Geography. The Lands of Ice and Fire map book places Asshai southeast of Et, which is itself east of Qarth, on the eastern shores of the Jade Sea, which has been completely moved from its location on the HBO map. The Saffron Straits link the Jade Sea to as yet unknown seas to the east, and Asshai sits at the mouth of the straits. A major river, the Ash, empties into the Jade Sea at Asshai. The river flows out of the Shadowlands, an area of mountains and hills northeast of the city, which is surrounded by ghost grass. Further upriver from Asshai is a ruined city called Stygai. Et and the large island of Leng are located northwest of Asshai across the Jade Sea, but the closest islands to Asshai are the Manticore Isles, a small chain of land directly westward, apparently inhabited by very poisonous manticore insects. Ulthos lies across the Saffron Straits from Asshai, but it is unknown if it is another continent or just a very large island. The distance between Qarth and Asshai appears to be roughly similar to the distance between Qarth and Old Valyria. Asshai is located at roughly the same line of latitude as the island of Noth, placing it further south than the southernmost points of Westeros. Trade. Asshai is a popular trading destination for ships, part of the traders' circle in the Jade Sea, however not nearly as important as Et. It exports goods such as amber and dragonglass. Gold and gems are also common exports, though some say the gold of the Shadowlands is as unhealthy as the fruits that grow there. The city is usually traveled to by ship, but it can also be reached overland by caravans. Trading ships from Westeros and the free cities bound for Asshai go east through the Summer Sea and the Jade Sea, which are connected by the Straits at Qarth, the Jade Gates. Caravans from Asshai traverse the Bone Mountains to reach V's Dothrak. Aside from traders, few from Westeros visit Asshai and little is known about it. The famous scribe and traveler Lomas Longstrider never visited Asshai, though he apparently heard from merchants in Et who did trade with Asshai that the vast gold of Casterly Rock was famous even there. All foodstuff and freshwater is brought in by ship, as animals brought into the city soon die, and the waters of the Ash glisten black beneath the noonday sun and glimmer with green phosphorescence by night. The only fish that dwell in its water are blind and deformed, and only fools and shadowbinders dare eat their flesh. Architecture. The World of Ice and Fire sourcebook revealed many details about Asshai. The city is apparently so ancient that even its own inhabitants don't know when it was first constructed, or even who constructed it. They will only say that a city has stood in this location since the world began, and a city will remain there until the world ends. Also, the physical expanse of Asshai is so large that Qarth, Volantis, King's Landing, and Old Town could be accommodated behind its massive land walls. According to travelers' reports, all of the buildings in the city, from palaces to hovels, are constructed of a greasy black stone that seems to diminish any source of light. Even the sun is considerably dimmer in Asshai than elsewhere, and the nights are pitch black. People. The inhabitants of Asshai are equally unusual. Despite the city's size and its long history as a major port on the Jade Sea, the local population is no larger than that of a market town. The Asshai themselves are described as highly secretive, wearing masks and veils in public and never socializing in the streets of the city. Followers of all religions and practitioners of all sorts of magic are welcome in Asshai, where nothing is forbidden. There are no beasts of burden to be found in the city, crops are impossible to grow in the area, the only living flora is ghost grass, which is inedible, and even drinking water has to be imported. Apparently the Ash River, which empties into the sea at Asshai, exudes some noxious presence that pollutes/kills off most living things. Any animals brought to the city die soon afterwards. Deformed, blind fish are the only fauna of the Ash, shadowbinders are the only humans who dare to eat these fish, and the human population is seemingly rendered sterile from long exposure. For this reason, there are no children in Asshai, and the population apparently reproduces by purchasing foreign child slaves and raising them as successive generations of Asshai. In a way this somewhat makes them a parallel to the citadel of the Maesters in Westeros, more an institution than a bloodline, passing down knowledge from one generation to the next, but while the citadel teaches scientific knowledge, Asshai teaches magic. Asshai and its few people have an ominous reputation in other lands. Asshai are described as having a dark and solemn appearance. The Dothraki believe that Asshai are spawn of shadows and hold them in contempt and fear. There are no children in Asshai. All who dwell there wear masks or veils, and often walk alone or ride in palanquins of ebony and iron, hidden behind dark curtains and carried upon the backs of slaves. Only the Shadowbinders of Asshai dare to travel upriver, and even they fear to tread before the doors of the Stygai, the corpse city. Language. The Asshai are well versed in witchcraft and wizardry, and have a language of their own, used in their spells. Miri Maz-Dur, who studied in Asshai, sings in a foreign tongue, her voice described as shrill and ululating. Furthermore, Melisandre has been noted to pray to Rulalar, once in the speech of Asshai, once in High Valyrian, and once in the common tongue, as well as sing in the tongue of Asshai. Esoteric knowledge. Asshai holds a significant amount of arcane knowledge. Of any current location, it is the most likely to have dragon lore. Ancient books of Asshai also record the Azor Ahai prophecy followed by members of the Rulalar faith. It is rumored that spellsingers, aeromancers, and warlocks practice their arts openly in Asshai. Asshai is open to all sorts of practitioners of the higher mysteries, such as gods' wives, night walkers, pyromancers, blood mages, as well as inquisitors, torturers and poisoners, and even worshippers of the black goat and Bacallan and the lion of night. No practice is forbidden in the city, however depraved. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.